Why did you have self-hatred if people are looking out? You have this big family and big life, so everything should be great, right?
Right.
But it isn't.
Yeah, I think that started from my childhood, you know, and really being the child of two addicts, which is it's no fault of my parents because they had their own challenges to deal with and they had their own illness, right?
In fact, there's a conversation you have with your father, which I had with mine as well, which is I can't be a father.
Your father said the same thing to you?
Yes.
Wow.
And I fully understood that from him.
Yeah.
I gave him that grace. I just said, you can't put on shoes and you don't have a phone or a home or, you're transient. You look like you are homeless.
Right.
And I think I was just so happy that he gave me life.
Yeah, and it took me a while to get to that point with my father, because when he told me I was 7, which even at that age...
I was 7 too, that's when I had the conversation. No, there's so much. Whether it's the nightclubs and the hanging out and the music and the everything. You are so not who I thought you were, and I didn't know who to think you were.
Right.
Okay, we're going backward.
Okay.
Okay, you grew up in Baltimore.
Right.
You have these 2 sets of grandparents. First of all, your grandmother, Marion, got pregnant at 13.
Yes, she did. She got pregnant at 13 and had to give up her child for adoption, and then she went into the foster care system. Yeah. And then my mother, when she got pregnant at a young age... 17? 17. My grandmother was like, you have to get married.
And if your father hadn't said yes to getting married, which he ultimately knew he wasn't probably capable of, but they went forward and you have your life.
Yeah, because she said, you either get married to my daughter or we're going to give the child up for adoption or she's going to have an abortion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I realized at a later age, I was like, you know what? Thank you for that yes, even though you knew you weren't going to be a capable father, but it put my life on the trajectory that it needed to be. And I became the apple of my grandmother's eye. I mean, I became the love of her life.
Marion, who was such a big force. But when I'm reading the book and I'm picturing you at 13 walking to 7-Eleven to meet the boy, that kid who grows up in Baltimore, that staying up all night, the sort of double life with your parent. They're off doing stuff that's good and also shady. You're off doing stuff that's good and shady. I can't tell you how much I relate to that. Like I got emancipated and lived on my own at 14.
Wow.
And by then I was ready.
Right.
Like I had been in an institution for years. I had been, even kids today, my kids are making crank calls and, texting with friends and wanting to wear crop tops, what I was doing at their age.
Okay.
And the thing with the will thing and the slap, you said in the book, there's no blood, there's no guns. And I had the moment where I was like, do you and I have such a skewed sense of reality that's been put on such a fast track due to our upbringing that unless it's really crazy, we don't consider it that crazy, or at least it didn't get that crazy?